Greetings, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to this latest edition of Tales from Outer Space. Hope you enjoy. Humanity the First, written by Rebel Hero. Captain Frost walked through the halls of the central government building. Earth had changed so much since you last saw her. Well, Earth herself was mostly the same. It was humanity that changed. It had been over 1,000 years since the launch of his expedition. He had only returned to Earth once and at a time to upgrade the expedition ship to a colony ship and refit all technology that had soared ahead while he was away. He was overjoyed to hear that not only was the climate change disaster halted, but it was finally starting to reverse. Humanity had nearly been lost when he departed. Clean tech had finally had a major breakthrough thanks to the efforts of some half-crazed students in an abandoned World War II bunker. It's no exaggeration to say that they saved the human race. 1,000 years of human history in what only appeared to him as 10. The theory of relativity still made his head hurt to try and comprehend. 1,000 years of hope had traveled the stars with him and his crew as they searched for a life in the galaxy. How many thousands of beautiful planets had he seen? How many had he landed on and walked among their flora? He could still remember the names of the ones he took his helmet off and breathed the air of. Over 1,000 years of searching finally came to an end. The Earth. It had been 100 years ago that they had received the message that he was returning. It was odd that he no longer considered Earth to be his home. He had to force the words out in the message he sent, tried to sound as dignified as possible. The search had ended, and he was here to deliver his findings in person. The guards at the door saluted him and opened the door in a practiced, nearly ritual manner. That was one thing that seemed to not change about humans. The other was the weapons they carried, ballistic, made of wood and metal, the ancient weapons of an honor god. Humanity sure loved to cling to its traditions and rituals. The same could be said to his dress uniform, modeled in the style of naval uniforms of the 20th century. He sighed eternally. He had to admit he looked really good in it. Such a simple article of clothing, and it seemed to amplify his command and presence. He strode through the doors with as much confidence as he could muster. The buzz of voices assaulted his ears as soon as he cleared the threshold. Thousands of people were gathered here. Their seating formed an imposing tiered wall of faces. They talked excitedly amongst themselves. He was informed that many of the rituals he knew had changed. They would not stop talking even when he reached the podium. They would continue to speak until he raised his right fist, an ancient symbol of rebellion, power, and promise of violence if ignored. It was said how much they respect you was reflected in how quickly they quieted. The silence would remain until he spoke either unity or freedom, and the assembled would raise their fists and speak the other. He reached the podium, keeping both hands down while he gathered his thoughts and prepared himself. He noticed that every face was turned towards him, even as they spoke to each other. He raised his fist, and silence fell before his fist passed his shoulder. Freedom! A short, powerful bellow that carried all the force he could muster. It was answered by a rustle of 1,000 fists rising in response. Unity! The voices of the thousands cried at once. He waited a moment for the buzz in the air to calm before speaking again. People of the ECG, my name is Captain Frost, Captain of the Spirit of Hope, leader of the search for intelligent life in the galaxy. I have returned to Earth, planet of my birth, to deliver my findings. He lowered his fists. Be welcome here, Captain Frost. The ECG greets you as one of the greatest heroes who have ever lived. No human here doesn't know who you are. All of us grew up watching the films of your father's plan and the newsreels of your departure. Every scrap of transmission we received from your mission was pored over for decades. The speaker was dignified, but his excitement was barely contained. Captain Frost noticed the speaker did not say, "Be welcome home." I am welcome and honored. New rituals, same as the old. He had no idea why any of it mattered. The people aboard the Spirit of Hope have sacrificed everything for our mission. The Earth we knew is long gone. Those of us who left behind family had to make peace with the fact that they would be long dead before we returned, and that the children of their children would be long gone. My father and mother may have taken me along, but my aunts and uncles, their brothers and sisters, they were left behind. Cousins and nieces and nephews, godchildren, co-workers and friends. Even the girl I loved stayed behind. Now, they are dead over 1,000 years. Their current descendants probably do not even know their names. To us, that heartbreak is as fresh as it was the day it happened. We knew that this would be the price to pay, and we knew our mission would be dangerous, that we all might die in the cold vacuum of space, or on some alien world. We chose to go anyway. We believed in our mission, that it would benefit all of mankind, humanity. Many of us died for that belief. Each time one of us was lost, the rest continued on, carrying the beliefs of the departed. 10 years of searching for us, more than 1,000 for Earth. Millions of possible planets cut down to thousands, and again to hundreds. Then a handful. Zettabytes of information were gathered on every solar system we passed through. We didn't land on every planet. There was no need. So many of them were little more than dirt and stone. The entire chamber hung on his every word. He needed them enraptured. They needed to know how much of their lives were dedicated to this, for nothing more than the knowledge. The thrill of learning something new, seeing something new, discovering for the sake of discovery. We brought with us today that information, in its entirety, a nice highlight reel for the press, as well as everything we gathered, raw, every picture, video, sample, data feed, all of it. It might take you all another 1,000 years to comb through it all.
Be sure that we will, Captain, with a fine-tooth comb. Entire generations have dreamed of this day. Our entire galaxy explored. I feel the weight of your achievement, all of us do. More than the beliefs of your crew, you carried the hopes and dreams and aspirations of the entire human race with you. Now we are here to end it all. We have just one question for you, Captain. What of your ultimate goal? To search for sentient life amongst the stars?
Frost could feel the tension in the room. Never in any of his reports did he mention any intelligent life. This was, of course, deliberate. Humans of the ECG, throughout all of our travels on every world we explored, there was nothing. No signs of intelligent life, living or dead. No evidence that any other sentient or sapient life had ever existed. In our beautiful Milky Way galaxy, we are alone. The chamber erupted. Frost held his ground and waited, before slowly raising his fist to the sky once more. The chamber quieted, though much slower this time. This may be a shock to all of you, but we have known for years. We've had time to think and to mourn. If you would allow it, I would share the wisdom we have gained from this. The chamber remained silent, the speaker only making a gesture to continue. We are the first. In this galaxy so far devoid of sapiens, we are the very first to achieve it. Humanity. And we have become the aliens we so dreamed of meeting. We have become the precursors of fantasy, whose ancient wisdom confounds the younger species. We have inherited nothing. We are the predecessors. A blank state of stars and planets is now ours alone. A fertile, empty field, all waiting crops and labor. The entire history of humanity was prepared us for this. The lessons learned in the blue speck of dust. We will help the rest of the galaxy grow. We have seen the foolishness of war and weapons of mass destruction, the end point of greed. We've seen how much more we can accomplish together and embrace an ideal once deemed a paradox. Time and time again, we pushed ourselves to the brink of extinction, only holding on by the willpower of a handful of people who believed that we could be better. Time and time again we looked to their example as we dragged ourselves back. Together we shall lay the groundwork of freedom and unity for a galaxy our species may never live to see. We are humanity the first, and the galaxy is now our responsibility. End of story. I would just quickly like to thank the T5 channel members and patrons, Caspar Arnholtz, Cam Maxwell, Parky, It's Difficult to Pronounce, Lord Azrakul, and Arcadian.